Hello, my name is Max. I'd like to do a reading today on Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, the Duchess of Sussex. So I've never done a reading on her before, so I'm really curious as to see what will come up. We know, of course, that she's married to Harry, Princess Diana's son, the brother to King or Prince William, and so she's somewhat of an important figure, and of course she's like a focus of a lot of talk and conversation and news, and some of it maybe not may not be justified, but um, nevertheless she's a very you know prominent figure, um, and I thought it'd be I just did a reading on Prince Harry, and actually that turned out to be very interesting, much more interesting than I thought it would be. I can always do another one too, another reading for him or any of the other members of the royal family. Charles doesn't really appeal to me. He seems really boring, but I can always do a reading on him if people want. Um, I think I really like Kate Middleton. I just don't know if there'd be anything interesting about her, but we can always look into that. I think Princess Diana, that would be interesting. Any of the many royals throughout history, throughout modern history, namely since maybe World War One. A lot of there's been many royals that have died, violent deaths, mysterious deaths, and we don't really hear much about them. But there's a few of them. There's actually a few that we don't even recently, like in the last 10 years or so, that have died, and that's always when I see a death, when I see someone dying young, or you see them dying in a tragic way. That usually for me that's a good indicator that there's something interesting about their life. I know most deaths are kind of chalked up to really kind of boring things, in the popular consciousness. But I really feel like there's probably more intrigue behind their deaths than what is commonly let on. But anyway, we can always do a reading, and anybody you want, if you want to ever leave a comment and let me know. I do read the comments, and so if you want me to read for somebody, I can do that. Um, I'm sure there's lots to uncover. I'm sure once we start, it'll turn into a very intrigue laden, mysterious path. So. And anyway, so here we go. Let's do this. I'm going to shuffle. This is for Meghan Markle, okay? And this is not a specific question, because honestly, I don't know her enough to really ask a specific question. But I can always do that in a later reading. This is just going to be a general read. Let's just see what we get. I'm going to do a 10-card spread, Celtic Cross, for Meghan Markle. Almost done here. I want to make sure I get this good. Here we go. Okay, this is for Meghan Markle. The Magician, upright. Six of Cups, upright. Seven of Cups, upright. Two of Wands, reversed. The Strength card, reversed. King of Pentacles reversed. Four of Cups upright. The Emperor reversed. Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Devil reversed. That's quite the card, man. To finish with that, that's kind of crazy. Okay, so anyway, let's start at the beginning here. Okay, so we have the Magician. The Magician is, I mean, it can be magic. It can be magic. It can be deception. It's generally a card of willpower, of willing something. But it's actually kind of like a beginner card in that way. I mean, it doesn't, not always, but it is kind of like a beginner card, and on a certain level. It's a very youthful card. But as you see here, this is a woman with a mask. To me, this indicates, it probably indicates deception and willpower. So this is someone trying to pull off some level of deceit, and some level of manipulation. That's what I'm getting so far. Okay, like behind the scenes manipulation. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups upright. Six of Cups. This is the crossing energy. So to me, this is it's really kind of a good card. I mean, it would kind of indicate comfort, coziness, nostalgia, romanticism. It's really kind of a card that depicts living in a castle, right? You're living in a castle, a very idyllic life. It's very, it feels like a dream. It's very pleasant. It's a youthful energy. It's a, it's really, this is a card of like comfort and safety and living. It could be, living a dream. I mean, she became like a princess, right? She's basically like a princess. She's royalty. She was not born into it. She became royalty by marrying Harry, Prince Harry. So this could be very much an indicator of that desire. This was her goal, you could say. This is the crossing energy. The Magician was the covering energy. So that's really interesting. So it kind of indicate a will towards being a royal, or living in a castle, or living a fairy tale life, or something to that effect. So I think this card is very much relevant in this case. So we know that she has this life now. She's married to a prince. She's British royalty. She lives a very comfortable life. I know she was a very successful television actress for a while, and but I know that money can disappear real quick. That's it doesn't stay long, especially if you have a lifestyle. If you have a lifestyle that requires more money. Like for somebody like me, that could last my whole life, what she earned, but for her, it may not do that, so she may have been considering, what am I going to do? What am I going to do the rest of my life? I'm a woman, I'm an actress, I'm getting older. I wasn't a movie star. I wasn't, it wasn't like I was making, top tier money. I was just an actress in a television series for a few years, So I'm sure money was very much a concern for her prior to becoming this princess. So this card is that. This card is like a focus on living this romantic lifestyle, living this lifestyle of royalty. So in the crowning card, this will be indicate her thoughts. So we have the Seven of Cups upright. So this is very much aligned with what we're discussing. It's kind of like these ideas of, it's very much a card of ideas, a card of thinking. I was thinking that this card was much like the Six of Cups in a certain sense, because, well, it is a Cups card. It's one up from the Six, and it's also well, the Six of Cups is like a card of nostalgia and romanticism and being safe, and it's kind of like a childish kind of card, an immature card, but it's a card of ideas. So of these ideas of like safety and comfort and romanticism, and so the Seven of Cups can also be like that, where you have ideas that are maybe not actionable, maybe not concrete, maybe not practical, but they're ideas nevertheless, and they could be fantasies, things like that. But this is a card that says you have a lot of ideas. It's not like a Queen of Wands or something like that, which would indicate that you're very creative and very ingenious. And this is a card of having, maybe not being focused on what you want, not knowing. Uh, kind of like not knowing what to decide. This could be, this could indicate confusion. It kind of could indicate like a scattered mind, but it could also indicate you have a lot of fantasies, and none of them, not a lot of them, are that realistic or that actionable. So this is a card of, it's a mental energy card, and it's a card of not being focused, a card of having a lot of ideas, or at least a lot of options or a lot of choices. Maybe not a lot of ideas, but because it's not a card of like genius. But it's really a card of like pictures in your mind, lots of pictures, lots of. It's usually not concrete. It's usually just kind of like daydreams, which can be very, very useful. But I'm just trying to figure out. Maybe we'll get a better idea what this card means later on. But it's kind of like a card of romanticism, and it's a card of like. It's just certainly not a card of action. It's not a card of like take charge or choosing a path and charging forward. It's certainly not that kind of card. It's kind of like a neutral card. It's like your car is stuck in neutral. You're not going anywhere. That's kind of what I'm getting here. It's like this. It's kind of like this neutral energy where you're not focused on action and movement, and you're not getting things done. You're kind of stuck in a mental stage, and that's kind of what I'm getting here. It's kind of like if you wanted to be princess, you wanted to be British royalty your whole life, and then finally you became British royalty, and now you don't know what to do. You've married the prince, you have the mansion, and you're married to the prince, and you're famous, and you're kind of rich, and now what? Now what? What am I going to do? Am I going to sell pots and pans my whole life? Am I going to be doing these really sad, pitiful, or at least mediocre television series on Netflix? Am I going to continue to just churn out this mediocre art and these crap interviews? And what am I going to do? What am I going to do? That's kind of what this is. It's kind of like a now what card. So in the recent past, we have the two of wands in reverse. So two of wands in reverse it could indicate like someone working against you. It could indicate like some sort of like someone working against you, or like some willpower, somebody acting against you or planning against you. It also could mean very much what the Seven of Cups means, where you're not acting on your vision. You don't have a vision. You're not acting towards it. You're kind of neutral. So typically the illustration is someone's at the top of a castle and they're looking out over the water and they see boats, I think, and they're holding a globe, and he's not happy. He's not really sad, but he's not happy. He's kind of like in this middle state, and it's like kind of like, is this it? It's kind of like, well, how do I snap out of this funk? I'm not, is this it? Like I have power, I have wealth, now what? And so this is reversed though. So, I'm just seeing that. I'm seeing like kind of like an incapability, like you're not able, you don't know how to move forward. Like she doesn't know how to move forward. She doesn't have an idea first of all, because we see it with the Seven of Cups. She doesn't have an idea to act on, and of course, she's not acting towards it. Like I think she doesn't have an idea. She doesn't have a vision for herself or for her future. She's unsure of which way to go, what to make of her life right now. I think this indicates that you're not really in the creative process. You're not really. You don't have a solid idea. You don't know what you're doing. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, yeah, it's definitely like a now what card, and this is in her recent past. Okay, so also in the deep past for Meghan Markle, we have strength reversed. So this is self-doubt. This is just doubting your own ability. It could be exhaustion. But this is just definitely not being in your power, being overwhelmed by circumstances, or and not really. You're not in that state, that Zen state, that state of lucid power. You're not there. It's very much just like that Two of Wands reversed. This is a card of, like I said, you're doubting yourself. You don't feel strong. You feel vulnerable. You feel like any task is kind of beyond your ability. You're looking at problems and you're thinking they're unsolvable, and you feel like you don't have the power to do what you need to do and get what you want. Like this is very much, you don't feel great, and you don't feel powerful, and you don't feel strong, and you don't feel like the things you need to do, that you don't feel like you're able to do the things you need to do. So this is a card of weakness and self-doubt. Not great. Okay, this is for Meghan Markle. This is her near future. This is King of Pentacles reversed. So obviously this can mean lack of money. This can mean like you need money. How do I find money? It's also like a card of it's a card of like sensual indulgence. It's a card of like lower chakra energy, like a card of like desire, like a card of like kind of indicates like to me like a need for like sex, basically, like intimate contact and romantic contact, and it could indicate a desire for that, like a desire for behavior of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all need it, or we've had it, or we want it, or we used to want it, or there's something, right? So it's a natural thing. Everybody has it at some point in their life. But this could indicate that she's in the mood for that. She wants that. That she wants like intimate activity, intimate contact, romantic behavior. It's kind of like this kind of indicates that. But it also indicates a need for money, and it can also indicate just laziness. It can't indicate that. It can't indicate like it can indicate. Obviously, it indicates all these things. What does it indicate in this case? I'm not sure. I feel like it's probably. This is like coming from a position of we need money. It's not like we. This definitely isn't like a positive wealth card. This would be you need money, or how do we get money? Where do we find money? But it's also a card of like I don't want to work for it. It is kind of a card like that. I think honestly, like if you don't know how to make money, if you don't know where to find it, if you're in that place of self-doubt, eight of the strength card reversed. If you're in that place where you're not making things happen, or you don't know how to make things happen, or you can't make things happen, a natural product of that is like craving sex. It is doing that. So this is my point is that this card could indicate a little bit of all three. That she has libido that is maybe charged up, charged up libido, and also she's trying to figure out how do we make money and how do we do it easy. How do we do this easy? and not work too hard. So that's kind of what I'm getting with this card. Okay. So for her, this is Meghan's card. This is represents her, at least her public face, or how she's seen in the world, how she acts in the world. It is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups upright. So she's disappointed in something. She's received something, but she doesn't like it, or she's not happy. It's very much a card of like kind of like a malaise, or it's definitely not a card of happiness. It's a card of like disappointment. It's a disappointment energy. It's an energy. It's a card that would indicate like a low energy, kind of like a sadness, a malaise, a disenchantment, a disappointment. You're not definitely not on fire, and you're certainly not satisfied with your current situation. This is a card of dissatisfaction, but it's a card that's resigned. In a way, it's kind of resigned to that dissatisfaction. This is not a card of like, I'm pissed and I'm gonna get up and do what I want, and I'm gonna, I'm not. It's not that kind of card. It's this card could precede that. It could precede that. Like you have this for a few months and you're like, okay, I've had enough. I had enough of sitting around watching TV, watching YouTube. I've had enough. You can get there, but this card is like not there yet. This card is, I'm not happy, but I am not unhappy enough to take action. I don't know how to change it, and I don't really care. It's a card of malaise. It's like, and not a great card to have. It definitely indicates like a stagnation to some extent. But it's not a terrible card either, and we've all been through this. So it's not a terrible card. This is not a calamitous card. It's just a card saying she's not on fire. She's not really doing what she wants to do right now. She's not doing it. And she's just discovering that she doesn't like where she's at, like what she's doing, but it's very much a malaise card. It's not a rebellion card. It's not a take action card. It's not a anger card, or I'm pissed, or I've had it up to here. It's not anything like that. This is kind of like a slow realization, that takes some time. So this is like just kind of a disappointing low energy indicator here. So okay, so this is Meghan Markle. This is her environment, and this is interesting. Okay, so in Meghan Markle's environment, we have the Emperor reversed. What does this mean? What is this? So, this is like, could be a man in her life that doesn't have power. That's what it could mean. So it could indicate Harry, right? This is like, she thought he was a man. He was strong and tough, and he was royalty, and he was a commander, of armies, and he's like she thought he was like a badass, and he's not a badass, kind of like that. And so this is this is a card of certainly lack of power, lack of control, lack of action, lack of command. In some instances, this could indicate like a card of like kind of like over control, but I don't see it here. I don't really see it. But this is her environment, so there's somebody in her environment, a male figure in her environment, who doesn't have control, and she wishes that he did. This is a guy who doesn't have command. He is not in control. He is not a leader. He is not an emperor. He's not a king. He's not a prince. He's like he's out of his depth here. This is what this indicates. This is like somebody who doesn't have control. So this is her environment. Okay. So this is her hopes, fears, and opportunities. This is our second to last card in this spread, and it's the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is it kind of means you need help. It can indicate that. It means you need money. You need partnership. You need someone to help you, some sort of business partner, some sort of help money wise. You need a loan. You need a business partner. You need something. You need to go public with your company. You need to sell some a part of your company to somebody, or you need to get a loan, or you need to something like that. So, or it also indicates like possibly spending beyond their means, spending beyond her means. This is like you're spending too much. You're not being careful with your spending. It's also like a card of you're not discriminating. You're not your mind isn't sharp. Your mind isn't. You're not being smart with your money. You're not being smart with whatever talent you have. You're not being smart with about your situation in any way. You're not being smart. You're not. You're not. You're just kind of going along, and you're not. You're thinking someone's gonna. Someone else is gonna step in and help you, but no one's gonna help you. It's just you, and you got to figure it out for yourself, and you're not figuring it out for yourself. Like you're hoping. This is kind of a card of like you're not great judgment. Like you're not thinking long term. And you're not really taking your situation seriously. So yeah, this is interesting. This is a card of like spending beyond your means, not planning, not understanding your situation, needing probably at some point needing help, needing money, needing some sort of partnership in some way, some sort of business partnership. You're gonna need something. You're gonna need to get something from someone pretty soon because you're running out of money, or you're spending it disproportionately to your income. So this is a card of like not being careful, not being smart. That's kind of what this card is right here. So, and it's a card of like you're gonna need help. You're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna need help. Otherwise, you're gonna hit a wall unless you can turn it around. Unless you can. Get rid of this Seven of Cups, and get rid of this Two of Wands reversed. Get rid of that Four of Cups, right? Like, really shape up and take charge, and get your mind clear, and take real steps to stabilizing your situation. So this is a card of like, it could be a card of instability. It's definitely a card of financial need. It's a card of lack of planning. It's just a card of not being smart, not understanding your debt level, things like that. So in the end card here is the Devil reversed. So this is the result card, the outcome card. This is the Devil reversed. So, I don't mean to laugh. But it's just, it's a heavy card to get. It's to get, especially in that position. The result. And it's definitely, if you got a 10 card reading every week of your life, you're going to get this at some point. You're going to get this. And it doesn't mean you're going to die. It doesn't mean you're doomed. It doesn't mean that. But it does. It's definitely not a great card to pull, and it means you're not in a great energy. And to me, this kind of seems like this is like there's like a lot of fear going on here. There's like a fear. It's like this uncertainty is leading to fear, and maybe like a desperate like need to be free. This kind of feels like where she's at. This is a reading for Meghan Markle, so for her, I would say this means she feels oppressed. She feels trapped. She feels like subjugated or enslaved. This is not a card of freedom. It's not a card of happiness. It's not a card of success or joy. This is a heavy energy, and we've all experienced it, but this is a card of need, a need for freedom, a need for escape. It's kind of what it is. This is like a need to escape. I see that, I see the obviously all the cards are kind of making sense right now, but I see a need, for escape. I see a need for, it could be also this is a card of like, kind of like that King of Pentacles reverse card, where it kind of can kind of indicate a need for sexual contact or sexual activity, romantic activity. This is kind of, it could indicate like a high libido, a high need to escape from what you're doing, and there's different ways to do that. There's drugs, there's risky, high risk activity, like sexual activity or drug activity, partying with the wrong people at the wrong time. But this is like a card. This is like a card of like, if something doesn't change, like something negative might happen. But this is a card of like needing to escape your perceived reality, whatever that reality is. This is a need to escape it. This is a feeling of oppression. This is like, when it's reversed like this, it's saying a need to escape this feeling, a need to escape what I think my reality is. And so this is, if you get this, this is like, yeah, like things are heavy. Like I don't have the money I need. I'm not getting the attention I need, like romantically. I'm not getting the type of attention I need, or something like that. Like, there's like something. It's an energy of dissatisfaction. It's definitely unhappiness. It's definitely. It's like the pressure is building, and she needs to act out in some way. Something like her current life, the way it is not in any way satisfying for her. It's not satisfying. It's not satisfying creatively, sexually, romantically. It's like the it's like the fairy tale has like worn off, and she has needs. And I think she wants a man. I think she wants romance. I think she wants passion. I think she wants and I think she wants other things too. And I think just like she needs to blow off some steam. I think she needs to cool it. But I think I didn't ask it, and I can maybe ask it in a later reading. But this is really a card of very strong, and this whole reading is an indicator of very strong dissatisfaction. And you can't have that for long before something happens, something gives, something breaks. And of course, having this as the outcome card, the devil in reverse as the outcome card, this is a desperate need to be free. This is a desperate need to be free. That's what this is. This is I need to try something else, like a different man, a different woman, whatever, a different drug, a different whatever. This is like a different place, a different time. I need to go somewhere else. This is a need to escape. This is what this is. So, so you can take that for what it's worth. I can do a more detailed reading at a later tomorrow or at a later time. You guys can let me know in the comments. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. Yeah, this is my first reading of Meghan Markle, and I got to say it is quite interesting. And I do I can see a pattern here for sure. I can see a pattern. I can see a dissatisfaction, a lack of direction, a lack of confidence, a need for money, a need for attention, a need for romantic attention. I see that romantic notion of royalty is now gone, and now she has to deal with it. She's married to a prince, and it's like a challenge. It wasn't. That's what this crossing energy would be with the Six of Cups. That's the crossing energy. So this indicates for her living in a palace, and this is like royalty, married to a prince, and it's like her challenge. So anyway, thank you all very much for being here. I will see you soon. Okay, bye bye.